I entered a fake marriage out of necessity, but now I'm starting to fall in love with my wife and don't know how to deal with it. Posted by you/Spate. This is all a very complicated and sad situation. About 4 years ago, my wife and partner of 8 years passed away due to complications after the birth of our second son. I was deployed at the time and completely devastated. After flying home, I felt that nothing would ever make me happy again. My sons are great, now 6 and 4, but overwhelming, so I asked a sister of one of my Marine buddies, Cass, to help out. She had been friends with my wife, but not close friends, and she agreed in exchange for a place to stay. At the time, Cass was only 20 years old and in quite a bit of debt due to her extremely abusive ex-boyfriend, whom she had finally left about 3 months earlier. During the first few weeks of her helping out with the boys, she asked to borrow money to see a doctor due to shaking hands. She had no insurance. I happily obliged. She was an angel, doing all the cooking and cleaning and keeping my young family together. It turned out that she had developed some sort of neurological disorder, probably brought on by repeated abuse. At the time, it seemed simple. I had good insurance, she needed healthcare, I never thought I'd be able to move on from my wife, and she was afraid of intimacy. I agreed that I would marry her but keep our relationship platonic. She promised not to burden me with her debt, and we had a prenuptial agreement and all. I know that this is fraud of the government, hence the throwaway, but we were both so damaged and needed somebody, even if not intimately. The past 3 years have been about as good as expected, if not better. Cass is great, better than great. She keeps the house spotless, has food ready every night when I get home, and has been working overnights as a baker and has almost paid off her debt. Her condition has improved greatly as well, thanks to the excellent medical care she received. With the boys, she is a saint. She tells them about their mother, shows them pictures, takes them places for fun, and even taught them how to read. Of course, the 6-year-old just finished kindergarten, but my 4-year-old is going to be the smartest kid in his class next year. Sometimes, the 4-year-old calls her mommy, but she shushes him and reminds him her name is Cass and that mommy is the angel whose picture is above the fireplace. Once her debt is fully paid off, the kids are in school, and she saves up a bit of money. She plans to go into a nursing program. Our relationship is still platonic but very caring. I've cried on her shoulder more times than I can count, and she's done the same. One night, I was very stressed out and yelled at her about something pretty inconsequential. She had taken my sons to see Santa without me. She, of course, became quite frightened, but we worked it out, and I even offered to pay for her to see a counselor. She didn't. That was 2 years ago, and while we've had minor fights since then, we've been able to work through them. She seems to understand me whenever I'm hurt, upset, or angry, and she's calming in a way that I can't explain. The problem, Reddit, is that I think I might be falling for her. I've been noticing little things, her scent, her smile, her laugh. The way she smiles with her eyes when she sees me, how much my boys love her. Not to mention that she's gorgeous, hardworking, and one of the strongest people I've ever encountered. A few nights ago, I almost kissed her after we had put the boys to bed, and her hugs goodbye have started lasting a little bit longer. The other day, she was taking a nap in my bed, she was washing her sheets, and I wanted to join her. Not to have sex with her, just to lay with her, hold her, and kiss her. I don't know what to do or how to even bring this up. It's been 4 years since my wife died. I can only think of a quote from A Song of Ice and Fire in which a character says, "When the sun has set, no candle can replace it," meaning that since his true love has died, nobody could replace her. That's how I used to feel, but there have been days when my thoughts are occupied with Cass, and I haven't even thought about my wife. I feel bad about it, and I still miss her, but I never thought I'd be able to move on. I feel guilty and disloyal. At the same time, I want her, not just sexually or physically, but romantically. I want to be intimate with her, not just as friends. I don't know how to bring it up. I don't want to scare her or make her uncomfortable, but this is becoming more difficult than I could have ever imagined. I was thinking about asking her to get dinner, just the two of us, and bringing it up. But what if she refuses? How can I gauge her interest? If it means anything, the other day she was having a hard time with the boys. They were restless and out of hand, so I brought her home some of her favorite flowers. She was extremely giddy, gave me another lingering hug, and even gave me a quick kiss on the lips. I was taken aback, but she pranced around, finishing dinner and putting the flowers in a vase. What does this mean? Edit. Screw it. It's been an hour on here, and you've convinced me to tell her. I've called her favorite fancy restaurant and made a reservation. Her brother agreed to babysit and let her/me stay at his place tonight if she isn't into it or feels uncomfortable. She paid off her debt this morning. Apparently, she just texted me a picture of the check, and next week is our 3-year anniversary, so that's the prelude. I'm going to tell her at dessert. I'm nervous as hell. Update 1 day later. Last night was hectic at first. Our younger son ate what he called a giant fuzzy spider, and Cass wanted to take him to the hospital, even though he was fine. Her brother, we'll call him Joe, told her he'd take care of it and basically forced her out of the house to celebrate getting out of debt. She really didn't seem like she wanted to go. At all. I was getting nervous. We got to the restaurant pretty early, but luckily, they had a table. She ordered wine, which was odd because she hasn't drunk much since breaking up with her ex, but I figured it was a time to celebrate. We made small talk for a while, but it felt forced, and I knew I had to tell her soon. Before the entrees even came, I said I had something to talk to her about. She didn't smile and told me, "I know." Joe told me. My goddamn heart almost stopped. That prick. I hurriedly told her I was so sorry, that I didn't want her to find out that way, and I had wanted to tell her myself. She shook her head, frowned, and said it was okay. She just wanted me to be happy and said I deserved it. I told her I didn't want to stress her out or make her uncomfortable, but I needed to tell her and see how she felt, and that it was completely up to her. She gave me a look and said that, actually, it was up to me, and I should just do what made me happy. She mentioned she was probably going to move out after her program ended and promised to stay out of the way until then. That's when I realized something was off and asked what the hell Joe had told her. She said he told her I wanted to take her out to dinner to tell her I'd started developing feelings for a girl and wanted to ask her permission to ask this girl out. It was then I realized Joe had set me up for the most climactic pickup line ever to exist. Our entrees came, I had shrimp and pesto gnocchi, and she had crab legs, for you detail lovers, and I explained that, yes, I'd started developing feelings for a girl, I just didn't want it to mess up what we had. She said it wouldn't mess anything up, that she still loved the boys, and that she'd take care of them in the house. I then explained that I wasn't going to ask the girl on a date, though, and she asked incredulously why not. Then I dropped the smoothest line I've ever dropped, because I'm already on a date with her. Right? Thanks, Joe. He must have known about the movie I had planned and really wanted that line. She gave me this look, the same one she gives my sons when they say things like, "I'm going to the mall by myself," or "I have a girlfriend named Tammy." Then she looked away, smiled, shook her head, and asked, "Really?" I nodded and told her I cared about her more than anybody else alive, other than my sons, that I loved our family, and that I'd fallen in love with her. She took a drink of wine, rolled her eyes, and said, "About freaking time, Alex." I'll never forget what happened next. Maybe it was a faux pas, but I leaned across the table and kissed her, spilling her wine. But neither of us cared, and we kissed for about a minute before she told me to get off her before her crab legs got cold. She was joking, but not, you'd have to know her. After leaving the restaurant, we got ice cream, sat around, and kissed some more before heading home. Joe was sitting on our couch watching one of those VH1 dating shows with a crap-eating grin on his face. Cass ran in, screaming at him that he ruined everything and that she was going to have to move in with mom now. We let him believe it for about 5 seconds before bursting into laughter. He shook my hand, told me the boys were sleeping, and left. I picked Cass up, kissed her, and carried her to my room, where we, well, made out for like 2 hours and snuggled the hell out of each other. She isn't ready for anything else but emphasized yet. I'll give her all the time in the world. At one point, the youngest came in because of a nightmare and brought his dog, a golden retriever puppy, claiming the doggy was scared. So, of course, we let him in. I woke up early to make everyone breakfast, and, of course, deliver it, and am about to go kiss my wife goodbye before asking my boss for the second half of the day off to spend more time with her while the boys are at school and preschool. Sorry I haven't replied to everything, I was a little busy, but thank you all for the support. Second update 2 months later. Hey everybody. I hope your workday is going well. My day has been crazy, but everything has been going wonderfully lately. It was somewhat strange at first explaining it to our friends and family, but most of them had already caught on, including my sons, who act as if nothing has changed. I'm pretty sure the little buggers knew the entire time. Anyway, last night I came home, and Cass was out of it. Dinner was burnt, which is no big deal, I can't cook well either, but it's out of character, and she was drinking lightly, only 1 or 2 glasses of wine. I asked her what was wrong, obviously concerned, and she told me that her ex-boyfriend, 30M, got parole last week. I was flabbergasted, as she should have been able to testify at his parole hearing, I believe. Apparently, the crime for which he was incarcerated was unrelated to the abuse, which I had always assumed was the reason, but Cass had been one, assured it would put him away for at least a decade, and 2, far too afraid to testify against him or press charges. Apparently, he'd been arrested for this felony, and while he was being held, he asked her to post bail. Instead, she asked my first wife for help moving out and moving on. I don't know what to do. I don't think we have any legal way to put him back in prison. She knows she should have gone to the police and feels guilt-ridden and upset about it now. I know she's going to be safe because if he tries to contact her, I'll take legal action to ensure he doesn't come near her. I've taken off work today, but I've promised that even when I go back, I'll have my buddies stopping by throughout the day. But I don't know how to make her feel safe. I've contacted my lawyer about filing a restraining order, and he said it shouldn't be too hard, but she's a mess. I just don't know how to make her believe that she's safe. I doubt this piece of crap will come around, but I know what I'll do if he tries. Third update 1 year 3 months later. Hey Reddit. First of all, I'd like to apologize for not keeping you guys updated. I've honestly just been pretty occupied with life lately. Last night, I had trouble sleeping. I was browsing the internet when an article about Reddit popped up, And I thought, I wonder how those nice people are doing. Then I signed in and realized that a lot of you really care about how my life is going with Cass. The answer is, pretty well now. Things got tough for a while when her ex was released from prison last year, though. She was so afraid that he'd contact her. Until he did. I remember that night like it was 5 minutes ago. Somebody rang our doorbell, and the oldest son answered. He asked for Cass. She told the boys to go upstairs, gave me a look, and I knew. But she didn't look scared. The crapstain apologized, begged for forgiveness, and asked for a second chance. She was so brave. I wanted to kill him, but she told him no and asked him to leave. He did, and he tried to contact her a few more times before we got an order of protection against him. Last I heard, he moved upstate to live with his dad or something. Around this time, her brother Joe also got into a really bad car accident and ended up having to move in with us for a while. He's a great guy and one of my best friends, so we didn't mind, but it was a stressful time. About 7 months ago, we finally, consummated our marriage, I guess you could say. The boys are doing great and are really happy. Cass got a pretty good job, although I think she's working too much overtime, and loves it. We're expecting our first child in February and couldn't be more excited. You could say that life is pretty good. Fourth update 7 months later. It's a girl. Sorry for not updating, it was a pretty rough pregnancy, and Cass has put her foot down about wanting more. I guess 3 is enough, but everything turned out great. Little Therese was 21 inches and 9 pounds at birth, and as bald as I am. She's way easier than the boys were, she hardly ever cries and is the most photogenic baby ever. Our youngest son is completely smitten and always tries to help, it's less cute than you'd think. Joe is also doing okay. His back is still bothering him, but he's dating a girl who actually went to my high school, 2 years younger than me, though. He's pretty happy with her, and we're all very happy for him. Other than new fatherhood, not much to update. I'm home watching the baby today while Cass is out, so I should be around for a while. Fifth update 9 years 9 months later. Hey guys, it's definitely been a minute. I ended up making another account a few years ago to follow things I'm interested in. Don't get me wrong, everyone was nice enough, but I kind of just wanted to start over with an account where nobody could easily find my life story, lol. I'd see this account pop up every few years and always think about updating, but there was either nothing huge to update anyone on, or I just wanted to step away from it, I guess. Sometimes it felt like my life was being overshadowed by this great love story that everyone thought represented every moment of my life. Then they made a movie, and no, I wasn't involved, didn't see it, and I'm not going to. I guess the happy updates are that we did end up having another baby, unplanned, but we love him so much. I had kind of put off getting a vasectomy but took care of that right after. Cass finished school and has a great job where she's moved up a lot, actually. I got out of the military and have been working a civilian job. Our dog passed 3 years ago, but we got another puppy a few months ago. The older boys are doing great in high school and sports, they both made varsity their freshman year and are so kind. Our younger two are also doing great, happy and healthy. I got a new job during COVID and love it. Her condition continued to improve and is now completely managed with therapy and medication. The bad updates, I'll start with the worst one, which is that Cass's brother passed away 4 years ago. He got into some trouble about a decade ago and never really got himself back together. We were both devastated. It felt like everything went gray in our lives, and we were struggling to stay afloat emotionally, if that makes sense. I threw myself into work and one of my hobbies, and she became severely depressed, even quitting her own hobby to focus on work and the kids. After a while, we were basically just roommates raising kids together. I don't know. Hindsight is 20/20, and I think we just didn't focus on each other because we were too focused on ourselves. About 7 months ago, I asked for a separation and moved out. She was devastated and didn't agree with it at first, but eventually, she accepted it. I didn't cheat on her, but I definitely saw how other marriages in our friend group worked and realized that she barely asked me about my day, my hobbies, or anything anymore. Everything we talked about was bills, kids, or adult responsibilities, not the fun things we used to do even when we had kids. I found myself talking more to friends about my feelings and hobbies than I was to her. One of those friends was a woman, but it was just talking, nothing physical. Even looking back, I don't think it rose to the level of an emotional affair, but I also know I was more excited to talk to this woman at one point than I was to Cass. I know all marriages have mountains and valleys, but this valley felt endless. I reasoned that we'd had a great almost 15 years, and nobody could take that away from us, but we deserve to be happy. I've dated a little here and there, but nothing serious. My 2 older boys stopped talking to me when we separated and wouldn't come over. I know Cass has tried to encourage them to visit, but they're stubborn. I think they blame me. She says she hasn't told them anything, but I don't know. The younger ones were coming over every other weekend and whenever I asked them to. Around September, I realized I'd made a huge mistake. Unfortunately, around that same time, I found out she'd started seeing someone else, a woman she used to work with. I felt like I'd completely ruined my life and went to a dark place. I was drinking a lot, both alone and at bars when I didn't have my kids. There were a few incidents where we fought, really fought. Sometimes she wouldn't let me talk to the kids, saying she knew I'd been drinking, which hadn't been an issue when we were together. I got mad and said some things I now regret. I quit drinking around the holidays, about a week before Christmas. It was hard with all the parties, but I'm glad I did. Since then, I've been asking for more time with the kids and trying to reach out to my older two. Now, my younger kids come over almost half the time, and my second oldest sometimes joins them. The oldest was nice to me when I came over for the holidays, but he doesn't answer my calls or texts. The kids and I are all in individual therapy. I'm not sure where to go from here. I asked Cass if she wanted me to take the kids for Valentine's Day, but she said she didn't have plans. She ended things with her girlfriend a few weeks ago. I kind of joked that we could hang out since we'd both be alone, but I don't think she realized I was serious. I was, and still am. I can see things more clearly now that I've been sober for a month. Not 100%, but I know I wasn't a full-blown alcoholic. Still, binge drinking is just as bad. I'll have 1 or 2 beers socially now, but no more, and I never drink alone. There's no alcohol in my apartment. The reason I don't know where to go from here is that she's so happy right now. She looks happier and seems happier than she was when we were together. Even though she and her girlfriend broke up, she's happy. I wonder if I was holding her down. A few months ago, she told me she wasn't interested in divorcing, or at least, she wasn't going to file. She said she'd appreciate a heads up if I did because she'd want to work with me. I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to be separated. I don't want to live in this stupid apartment anymore without my kids or my wife. I don't think it's an easy fix where I can just take her out to dinner and tell her how I feel. I've thought about asking her to join a therapy session with me, or even suggesting couples counseling, but every time I want to ask, I hesitate. I guess I'm afraid of her saying no. Now that she's single and I'm sober, I think she'd be more likely to say yes, but if she doesn't, I'd be crushed.